Welcome back and thank you for staying with NTV Weekend Edition. Now this week, Parliament laid all the groundwork for the operations of Uganda Airlines. Despite queries, the House appropriated funds for the purchase of 2 aircrafts to be delivered on the 8th of April. Today, we are asking what the management at Uganda Airlines should look out for to ensure that the success of the airline is brought to book. To lay the grounds is former Captain Francis Babu, who is going to talk to us about this, and we're excited to have you in the studios tonight.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all our viewers.
Yes, we want to start from a very first concern. Yeah, there has been so much doubt about the preliminary plans being laid down to make sure that the Uganda Airlines comes back to operate in Uganda. Do you think the doubts are justified, and why?
Yeah, the doubts come because of a lot of speculations, and there's a lot of propaganda in this country. And there's a lot of people who have lost trust in some of our leaders. Now, all those put together sometimes create a situation where the people, on the average, are not confident with what is going on. Now, the few mistakes which were made recently in the registration of the airline also sort of up this if you like, skepticism. So people are skeptical. And unfortunately, there's no need, because the minister eventually agreed that there were mistakes and she was going to correct them. They were working together. And these mistakes were actually not made by her. They were made by, in my opinion, by the Attorney General's chambers, because anything government is supposed to be registered by the Attorney General's chamber. Anything with the legalities and legal agreements and so on are done by the Attorney General's chambers.
Now, basing on the problems that are currently in Parliament in regards to the airlines, if you could imagine yourself in the Parliament, briefly tell us what you think the Parliament can do to solve the problems that they're having.
First of all, the Parliament has got a function of oversight to make sure that anything that is owned by government on behalf of the people of Uganda, that whatever it is that is being done according to, within the limits of the law, within the limits of management, and so on and so forth. Now, the Parliament, the first thing they did was, of course, to find out these mistakes. And you must congratulate Parliament for that. And secondly, although some people went a little bit overboard and the way they were debating this, the point is that they made the point and the minister admitted and corrected the mistake. To me, that is the most important bit. We all make mistakes. We all do make mistakes, as long as these mistakes are done. The only thing is, sometimes it is embarrassing for a government like ours, which has got all facilities and has got all sorts of people, to make such mistakes. Because to me, those mistakes are...
But do you think people were consulted enough in regards to this airline?
No, wait. There's a cabinet, which is you know, our cabinet is big, you know very well. They are nearly 70 or 75 people. These people, see, they're very highly respected people, and I think they discuss this very well. This must have been discussed eventually. Even the Parliament was told about this, and they should have been. And there's a committee on transport. There are several committees in Parliament, including budget and so on and so forth. They're supposed to be able to debate this officially. So the consultation, people who talk on our behalf is Parliament, and then the executive, which generate the ideas. They are supposed to work together. Now, those are two arms of government that should work together, in my opinion, to allay the fears of everybody. As far as I'm concerned, the idea of having an airline is good.
Okay.
The location of our country is good for an airline. The time is right. I think all it needs now is core values of integrity, of making sure they have a good teamwork to be able to make that airline work.
You were around when the national airline was around in 1989. You have been there. You know what happens there. You know what can be done, you know, to make the airline back to being the pride of Uganda. What do you think currently can be done to ensure that it actually succeeds?
Well, there are many things. You see, we've gone through the ups and downs of our political environment, and our economic environment has not really been very good. Over the years, we've just been building a nation from the ashes, as far as I'm concerned. Now, what has happened is that from East African Airways days, when the community was unbundled, and then eventually we got what eventually came out of Uganda Aviation and then Uganda Airlines. If you went back and looked at the history of that airline, the way it was started, was also started on a very poor foundation.
Don't you think also it has been started on poor foundation?
This
Considering
one? No,
we
no,
had
no, no.
a number of issues surrounding the starting up.
No. I think the startup is okay. These small mistakes, you should not exaggerate them. You should not build them. But of course, there are weaknesses here and there within the system, but those weaknesses can be plugged, as far as I'm concerned. And given a chance, we've learned from these mistakes that we should not allow these mistakes to happen again. Like everything else, we make mistakes and correct them. And I think right now, the president and his team should be able to sit down through these mistakes and correct them and make sure that we start on the right foundation so that this airline can run. It can do very well.
You talk of it being able to run. We've heard from our neighboring countries where they say that airlines have had a custom, or they've had quite a situation where they make losses than profits. What do you have to say about that?
Oh yes, it is there. One of the president was asked this, but you started an airline, but it's making losses, as we said right now, and he said no. It can make losses for the time being. Our concern is not the airline to immediately make the profit, but to be able to connect us to the rest of the world, and to bring tourists here, to bring business people here, to make our people move up and down, and eventually we start working on it. And anybody who thinks that the airline is going to break even within 1 year is in a dream. This airline is going to take between 5 to 10 years to break even.
Okay.
Yeah. So. We should know where we're going, and we should know what we want. But we are a landlocked country. We're in a very good location. Starting an airline would be a good idea, but at the same time, we need a fantastic team to give us the core values with integrity to make this airline run.
You talk of so many things in regards to this airline. You're very optimistic, and I can clearly see it. But when you're to look at the different problems that we have in the country in regards to infrastructure, to education, do you think it is the right time to have this airline?
Oh yes, it is.
In fact, let me rephrase that. To have so much money being spent on the airline.
Yeah, if you look at the government as two areas. One, the government must make money, and that money must be made into the social services, and you must make money to put it in the social services, the ones you're talking about. Now, one of the areas where the economy must be revamped is, for example, having that airline to improve our tourist industry, to improve for example, Ethiopian Airlines today. People are growing flowers in Ethiopia, and Ethiopian Airlines have given them a very good price to be able to take those flowers to Amsterdam, which is the world center for flowers. Now, if Uganda Airlines can also come up eventually and give us a cargo aeroplane that can take some of our produce to Europe, and not only that, also to make sure that it brings other products from abroad into Africa, and be able to do that kind of business, what we need is a team to make that money. So we need a team that is able to translate that airline into making money, to be able to finance the social sector that you're talking about.
If I may ask you again, how does the common man stand to win or to enjoy this? How does he stand to benefit?
The common man stands to enjoy if we make money and put it in the services that helps that person. The needs of the average citizens, what are they? And how much money can we put in those needs? Now, we've got to, at this moment, we've got to tie our belts, get the areas that bring in money so that we can support the social services. So you cannot have your cake and eat it. You've got to be able to do something to be able to make money, to be able to get the products that you want.
Interesting. Thank you so much for coming to our studios tonight, and also for making us have some confidence in the Uganda Airlines that we'll soon have in the country. That was it in Talk of the Nation. Keep it NTV.